This project has a low supply, it has a reasonable price, and the art is super cute. Now, it's got 2,600 followers, so super early. And the way that I came about this was my boy Zarin from my Discord was like, hey, Nate, check this out. I checked it out and I thought it was pretty cool. Now, the reason that I really like this and where I got super excited is they've got a supply of 4,444 and the mint price is going to be under 0.1. So it's going to be a 0.08 or 0.09. So I love super low supplies. Super low supplies really work well. And when I first saw the art, I'm like, okay, cool. The more I watched the art and looked at it, the more I kind of vibed with it, because you can tell the artist actually puts in a bunch of work. And this is how you can tell they're a bunch of degens. They actually got Hard Rock Nick to do a cameo. So it's these kind of things that if you're in the space, when you get sort of Hard Rock Nick memes, when you kind of have some cool art that's sort of animated in their promos, heck yeah, this works. Now look, full disclosure, when it comes down to this project, I'm not whitelisted yet, but I'm pretty sure I will be whitelisted. What I've done is I got the founder to actually give me a link to their Discord, because their Discord's currently locked, but a 7-day unlimited invite Discord link. So if you actually head down below, you can actually get into their Discord. It's locked. After 7 days after this kind of video has been out, you're not going to be able to get into it. So if you're watching this after the 7 days of when this is published, that link may be shut. But the idea is like, at least you can get in there, have a look, and then contribute, and then hopefully get on that whitelist, and you should be good. So I just want to kind of clear that up before I kind of kick on with the video. Now, where I got extra bullish on this project is the fact that we go some of the founders. Now, I went and checked out the founder and I was like, oh damn, he's got a Midnight Breeze. Now, I'm a big fan of Midnight Breeze as the project. I'd love it, super bullish on it. So it was one of those things that when I first reached out to him to ask more questions about the project, the first thing that he noticed was my Midnight Breeze banner. And the fact that he's got a Midnight Breeze banner, what this does is it just kind of lets you connect on a level that isn't just based on the project that they're kind of going and the project that I'm kind of looking at covering and just doing my research on. And the fact that he owns 17 of these Midnight Breezes shows me that he's super bullish and he understands how things are connected in the space. And it shows me that he's a degen in the space. Now, the other aspect that's cool is you've got Wout, you've got the artist. And when it comes down to Biased and Wout, they met in Monkey Bet DAO. Wout was doing some sort of animation-y stuff for them for promos, and Bias was just kind of in there hanging out as you kind of do in a project. So they didn't run this project, but they met in another project, and then they thought, hey, let's get together and actually kind of do something together. And then they ended up coming up with Ruggies. So this is kind of a little bit of the overview of what Ruggies is. And then what I wanted to do is I actually wanted to reach out and speak to the founder, because what I like to do is do my due diligence, reach out, speak to the founders, fill in the gaps, and kind of see if they can kind of talk the talk of the walking that they're walking on Twitter. And when it came down to what they're actually doing, I got super excited with how they actually wanted to run this up. The key words that the founder was saying is they want this to become the brand. Now, what I mean by the brand is they want to take 70% of the mint price and put that back into the communal fund. Now, the reason they want to do that is they can continuously kind of pump up the brand, build that up so they can then run it out further, because they know that if you try to extract as much liquidity from the project, it's essentially going to die because they've been in the space. And the fact that he is a holder, he kind of understands it. Now, they're doing 4,444 at around that sort of 0.08, 0.09 mark. Now, what is interesting is when I was talking to him, he was saying that he initially was going to do a run of 3,333, like a super low sort of supply run, because he understands the supply shock that can come in. With a 4,444, a little bit of volume, boom, that rockets. That's crazy. Good, game over. So the idea that this is being put into play by people that understand the space gives me confidence. And then also, I think the art works. It's cool. It's fun. It's detailed enough, but it's also, it's not hired out to someone. The artist is front and center. And this is something that I'm sort of bullish on in 2022, is the fact that the artist sort of being involved and being sort of front and center when it comes down to a project. I think that it's good for a project that is trying to be heavily art based. So this is really cool. It's fun. Now, when we come down to the community, what the founder was saying is they want to avoid the grinding that happens on servers, because he's been in the game just like us. He's had to grind, he's had to kind of run up numbers and almost neglect his real life relationship to try to like just sort of impress people in a Discord to then try to get a whitelist, which wasn't cool. What he's actually doing is the way that they're doing their whitelist is they're called participation events. And the idea is that you can then, like in this one, tell your story. All you need to do is tell your story when it comes down to crypto or NFTs. They'll read through, and then once the submissions close, go through, read them, and then give people sort of whitelist spots. So the idea that you can then like just add something to it, these participation events. So when you participate, you can just get whitelisted. So the idea is you can come in, share your story, share some art, share something, no grinding, and then you can actually get what you want, which is the whitelist. Now, the other part that I really liked was the fact that there are going to be tiers when it comes down to the whitelist, because he understands that once you get a whitelist, you might want to stay engaged and active, but why would you want to be continuously doing that when other people have got the whitelist and then dip out? So the idea is they're having a tiered whitelist system. So the idea is like the rug list and rug list tiers. The idea is that sort of for the first rug list, participate in the event, in the engagement events, things like that, you can get rug listed. Then if you continue to do that, you can then be upgraded to Ruglist 2.0. And then if you keep going further and above and beyond, you can also go for the Super Rug List. And my interpretation of this is that sort of Ruglist 1, get 1 mint, Ruglist 2.0, you get 2, Super Rug 3. So the idea is like you're then incentivized to like just keep going. And it doesn't need to mean keep grinding. It just means you can just keep coming back, keep sharing, keep kind of participating within the community. So when it comes down to Ruggies, the founders have their heads screwed on very tight, and the way that they kind of want to structure this is very interesting. And the fact is, they've got sort of not even 3,000 followers on Twitter. Now, this would usually scare me, but the fact is they're still about 2 weeks out from mint. This can easily run up to sort of a 10 or a 15. But once you get to the 10 or the 15, they've only got a supply of 4,000, which means that this can sell out really fast, really quickly, which then instills confidence, which then moves it forward. I touched on this previously when there was a project called Planktoons, and the fact is that ran out and that did a 4 or a 5x off the mint price because the supply was so tight and people were able to just kind of easily get them. It was a fun, cool vibe. And that's where I see a project like this going. The fact that it is such a, it's a cute looking project. It's kind of got the meta with the fact that you've got rug pulls and rugs, which is great. But then you've also got founders that understand the metrics when it comes down to supply and demand to ensure that, and this isn't their words, this is my words, to ensure that you're kind of going to get a good, healthy secondary market, which is cool. Then you throw in the other fact that they're going to then try to take the funds to then go back into it to ensure that this is a solid brand so they can then expand and run out afterwards as well is also good. And he was also saying that with the secondary sales, they're going to also put through a lot of the secondary sales in terms of the royalties back into the project as well. Now, look, usually the idea of giving back to the community and going like, oh, we're going to give sort of 70% back to the mint and then like, oh, a lot of the royalties back to the community, I'd be kind of shaking that off and kind of going, okay, cool, they're just pandering. But the way that it came about was the fact that I actually said, yeah, I think a supply of 4,444 is good because it lets you build that brand, which then means you can then do a companion drop of 2,222 or 444 or 555. And he goes, that's why they want to kind of keep reinvesting back into this initial pillar piece because they know that the first piece needs to succeed for the rest of the brand to kind of be built off of. So it wasn't me it was me almost prompting him out of the blue to kind of explain that aspect of it, which is what I liked because we vibed quite heavily. We almost spent half the time talking about Midnight Breeze, which I liked. And when you can kind of vibe with a founder, that's when you get really excited. And another thing that I want to touch on is just like other communities have done, they're actually kind of letting the community decide what kind of traits there should be on some of these things. So they're going, hey, do you want some arms? And everyone's kind of overwhelmingly gone, yes, we want to have some arms. So they're also kind of engaging the community on what they should also build into the traits just to kind of make it a little bit more fun and more engaging when it comes down to everyone. So overall, I hope you found value in the video and a little bit of a dive into something that isn't hyped, that isn't kind of big, something that is a bit of a sleeper, that hopefully will kind of do well on the secondary market because it has all of those aspects that do go well into a project. So if you found value in this video, please consider hitting up that subscribe button. While you're down there, also hit up the like button. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.